Waikiki is what you see on all the postcards. It's where all the tourists like to flock to. And some people just really like that city life. Believe it or not, it's not just all tourists down there. A lot of people do like living in Waikiki. Well, it's not for everybody though, right? So in this video, we're going to talk about the 5 worst things about living in Waikiki right now. What's going on? Welcome to the Living in Hawaii channel. My name is Ryan Strong and I'm a real estate agent here on the island of Oahu or in Honolulu. If you're new here to this channel is all about what it's like to live in Hawaii, what it's like to eat, sleep, play, breathe, the up, down, left, and right. Everything that you need to know about living in Hawaii, because maybe you're thinking about making that move here, right? Or you're already on the way, or you're already here and you're trying to find that place that best fits your lifestyle, all your criteria, checking all your boxes, right? If you're not new here, hey, welcome on back. Make sure you all hit the like button. It's going to help anybody else be able to find these helpful videos. Hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified anytime that we put a new video out on this channel. And like I said in the beginning, we're trying to help everyone find the place that best fits their lifestyle. We talk to so many people every single day that reach out and we absolutely love it. And you can do the same thing too. You can shoot us a text, you can give us a call, you can send me an email, you can skip all that and use the link down in the description below. However you want to get a hold of us, we got your back when it comes to living in Hawaii. Kicking things off with number 5, we're going to be talking about the hustle and bustle of the city life. And yes, we have it here too. You hear all these things, you hear me talk about it like, hey, look, we just have this laid back lifestyle here in Hawaii. It's kind of like relax, chill. Things will get done when they get done. You don't have to be in such a rush to get wherever it is that you're going, right? Because in a lot of these other big cities, now we're not necessarily a huge city, right? But in the bigger cities, you know, LA, San Francisco, New York, Miami, wherever it is, everybody's like, get out of my way. I'm in a rush. Not so much in Hawaii in general. Well, in Waikiki, we still have a bit of that. All right. We still have a bit of that. And it's almost like when you go down there, a lot of times we don't like going down there for a lot of these reasons, right? The hustle and bustle of the city life, people are like, me, get out of my way. I'm trying to get where I'm going. And that's really what we have down there. And that's kind of like what we call our, you know, our concrete jungle in paradise. And so the hustle and bustle of it's just a lot of people, you know, when you're in that mode or in that environment, you kind of just start to, you know, evolve into your environment. And then you think that that's how just things are. And so it's, you know, get out of my way. I've got to get to work or I've got things to do and I need to get there fast. I need to get there now. And a lot of people just seem like they're not necessarily about the laid back aloha lifestyle. So if you are from a bigger city and that's the life that you know, right, and you're okay with that and you're not worried about what I just said, then hey, Waikiki might be the place for you and that might be the lifestyle that you're looking for. But if you're somebody who's looking to live in more of a suburb, right, and you're not looking to be caught up in this fast-paced living in condos, you know, buildings and taking the elevator down and you know, getting to where you need to go through the bus or whatever it is, and just being that fast-paced hustle and bustle city life, then Waikiki is probably not the spot for you. Number 4 on our list is, hey, look, Waikiki is just very noisy. And there's a lot of factors that go into this. But I mean, as any city, right, when you have just more people in a more consolidated area, things just become more noisy. It's like the same thing if everybody, you know, you have a ton of people in a crowded room and people start trying to talk over each other and things just get more noisy and noisy. That's essentially any city, right? It's crowded. There's a lot of vehicles, a lot of cars, you know, so that's a lot of noise. The honking, we got sirens, right? When things happen, whether it be the police, the fire department, the ambulance, whichever one, right? Hearing sirens at 2 a.m. is not unfamiliar or uncommon. So you can expect those types of things. And then of course, the nightlife. All right. So the nightlife is one of the things. If you're looking to live in a place where everybody goes to bed at 9 or 10, that's not happening in Waikiki. As far as the whole island goes, most of our nightlife, actually almost all of our nightlife is in Waikiki. So for the rest of the island, it seems like, you know, ghost towns. Matter of fact, my wife and I were actually watching a movie down at Kapolei Commons because we live on the west side. So we went down to Kapolei Commons to watch a movie, and the movie got out, I want to say it was like 10:30 or 11. And we walked out of the movie theater in Kapolei around 10:30, and it was just a ghost town. Like Target was shut down because it's right there. We could see Target was shut down. I mean, everything was just shut down. It was like a ghost town. It was quiet, and we just walked to our car and, went home. We didn't have to get through a lot of traffic and stuff like that and worry about a lot of people versus Waikiki, where, things are open typically till about 2 a.m. when we're talking about the bars, the nightclubs and stuff like that. Restaurants stay open a little bit later, especially when we're accommodating for tourist, either way, however you say it. But things stay open a little bit later, and therefore the noise carries on later into the night. A lot of your bars, nightclubs, and stuff like that, right? Loud music, a lot of people out on the street, walking around, hanging out, whatever it is, right? A lot of those, go into about 2 a.m. sometimes. So coming out of all of the crazy stuff that had been going on through 2021 into 2022, things opening back up, becoming more relaxed when it comes to sort of any restrictions and stuff like that. They're really opening back up to later in the night. And so you just really got to deal with that. It's like, again, we just talked about hustle and bustle of the city life. Well, now you got the noise of the city life. And so you're like, it can't be any worse than, New York. I mean, maybe not. It probably isn't, right? You may come to Waikiki and be like, this is nothing, right? I'm used to hearing this, and that, and then, deep in, New York City. So it may be a little bit different than that, right? But as far as what you may be used to from a suburb, right? Waikiki definitely has a more noisy environment. All right, so we've covered the hustle and bustle, we've covered the noise, right? And now we actually kind of just mentioned a lot of people being down there. Well, what you see here in my background is, Diamond Head and Waikiki. And this is what you see on the postcards. This is what you see on, the things you see on TV, right? These are the things that they show because a lot of people are familiar with this. Well, Waikiki is, this is not breaking news here, but Waikiki is the tourist spot. This is what everybody sees when they fly in here to the Honolulu airport. Waikiki, you'll be there in 15, 20 minutes, right? And then you'll be, driving through the concrete jungle down there. And there's just a lot of tourists. It is our tourist hub for the island of Oahu and most of the state, right? But Maui's kind of, coming up, right? When it comes to the tourism, Kauai as well. But as far as Waikiki goes, that's the place that everybody just knows, right? That's the first thing. You think Hawaii, it's like, oh, Waikiki, that's the first spot. So we have a ton of tourists. Now, why do we have a ton of tourists? Well, it's just a destination, right? It's the destination, and our economy, right? Sadly, believe it or not, our economy, just like, a place like Las Vegas, right? Our economy relies heavily on tourism, right? People coming here and spending money. When people come here and spend money, then the local people that work, in Waikiki or wherever it is on the island that has tourists, they have jobs, they get paid. So we rely heavily on people coming here and spending money. And in Waikiki in general, there's just a lot more people coming here and hanging out in Waikiki, right? Just like I said, Las Vegas is a pretty good comparison as far as having a tourist economy and a tourist destination. And then you have the Las Vegas Strip. Well, we have our own strip, which is on Kalakaua, which is the road. And you're walking down the Waikiki Strip where all of our tall buildings are, all the nice malls are, all the cool places to eat. And then you can make a quick, turn and be at the beach in a block or less. So we do have a ton of tourists down there. So that's going to lead to, again, more noise, right? Which is the same things that we just talked about. I know it sounds repetitive, but if you can't tell, these things are just really like adding up. All right. It's just really adding up. So there's a ton of tourists down there. When, I went and did a vlog tour in Waikiki, which you can go check out after this video on this channel. I'm going to have it pop up for you. Matter of fact, it's going to be right here on the right side of your screen. You can just click that and then it'll take you right to the vlog tour where I walked all of Waikiki. That was a pretty long day and it was hot outside. I put in the steps for that one, miles, but you can go check that out. But anyway, walking down there and doing that vlog, right? There's just a ton of people. It's super crowded, ton of people down there. Matter of fact, in the beginning of that vlog, you'll see Waikiki Beach and you'll see how many people are on Waikiki Beach. It's almost like there was more people and tourists than there was sand. It was crazy. So walking through Waikiki, you can check that out. But in general, again, just lots of tourists down there. Number 2 on our list is Waikiki is just congested. It is so congested down there. And now I know this sounds like I'm beating a dead horse, so to speak. And all this, like I said, is really just adding up. But we're talking about the congestion. We've talked about the hustle and bustle. We've talked about the noise. We talked about the tourists. Lots of people down there. So yes, as far as people, and we talked about, right, I told you I did the vlog and there was almost seemed like there was more people than sand, right, on that beach. It was crazy. Lots and lots of congestion, but it's not just the people and the amount of people that are down there. When we have been to any big city, no matter where it is, Waikiki isn't really that different when it comes to tall buildings being literally like right next to each other, on top of each other. Tight parking spaces, right? So when you go down there, for one, parking is a beast down there, and there's not a ton of free parking. There's just not, most of the time, more often than not, you're going to be paying to park wherever it is. And so that's even if you're, wherever it is, if you buy or rent a condo down there, then you want to make sure it has a parking spot. But the parking's a lot tighter. So now we're worried about our doors getting dinged, and the person parking next to us may not care, and they might have a crappy car and then mess yours up. But the congestion is real down there. Now it's real all around the island, right? So if you're looking at suburb homes and, homes in Eva or homes in Mililani, wherever it is, and it looks like you can jump from your roof to your neighbor's roof, please don't attempt that. But if it looks like that, then yes, that's how a lot of the island is. The whole island is pretty congested because we only have so much island, right? We're not making more of it. If some more of it pops up somewhere, right, that'd be kind of cool. But we're just not making more island. We don't have more island. So it's pretty congested style of living. All right. There's not a lot of places on this island where you're going to find a big plot of land to live. Now, flipping that back to Waikiki being congested, like I said, just like any city, you got tons of tall buildings like right next to each other. Parking garages are a lot tighter. The turns in the parking garages are a lot tighter. The stalls in those garages are a lot tighter. The stalls in the lots are a lot tighter. And like, there can just be, it seems like, it's like, how many buildings can you get in one small little block? It's like what they tried to really accomplish. It's crazy how tall, like how close these buildings are. So it just really, really is a congested style of living down there. It's literally like you're living on top of your neighbors, and the elevators are smaller. Again, just total congestion down there. So that's something that you really need to be aware of. Number 1 on our list is the condo living lifestyle. So if you think you're going to go buy a single family home in Waikiki, which is zip code of 96815. So if you are trying to search for homes in Waikiki, you can type in 96815 in your search, and then it'll pull up and it'll outline 96815, which you will see is the little strip of Waikiki next to the beach, and then a little bit extended to Ala Moana, but not too much. Now, when we're talking about living in Waikiki, you will not see any single family homes in that strip. You will not see any single family homes. So it's going to be condo living. All right. So if you're comfortable and okay with condo living and you've done all that before, then hey, cool. You're there. You're in the right spot. But for some people, they maybe want to get out of it, right? Or they just weren't aware that, hey, the condos here are actually a little bit smaller, right? That's one of the things we talk about a lot, especially in our cost of living videos, is not getting as much bang for your buck when it comes to living out here in Hawaii. Now, in the same essence, right, looking at condos, whether you're buying or renting, and just putting this out there, we do not service rentals, we do sales. But buying a condo, you may be looking at a condo that's only 300 square feet and it costs $200,000, right? And you're like, oh my goodness, really? Like a condo that is 300 square feet, it's pretty much considered a studio, is going to cost 200 grand. Like, this is crazy, right? It's going to be smaller, tighter, congested living. Like we already said, these things building up, right? Smaller, tighter, congested living. Condo size is really going to be a factor, right? And the more square footage that you're looking for in that condo, the more expensive it's going to be. All right. And then there's obviously some luxury condos that, may overlook the water and those types of things. Definitely going to be more expensive. Or yeah, on the more expensive side. But that condo living lifestyle, we kind of talked about the parking spaces. This is something else that you need to be on the lookout for. Not every condo unit comes with a parking space. All right. Not everyone does. Matter of fact, you can look up on a home search thing too, and you will see that some people are selling parking spots for like 40, 50, 60 grand. I kid you not. It's pretty funny. but that's how crazy the parking is down there. And people down there know, like sometimes they're rented out, right, for not near as much, but depending on what building you live in, but people know that like not every condo unit comes with a parking stall. So if you're someone that wants to live down there and you want to have your car so that you can commute out of Waikiki and those types of things, you definitely want to make sure that the condo unit that you're looking to purchase or rent comes with a parking stall. So we've got tighter, smaller condos, right? Less bang for your buck, depending on the size, depending on how close it is to Waikiki Beach versus the Alawai. And if you haven't seen it already, basically in the strip of Waikiki, it's divided by the beach or the coast, right? Waikiki Beach. And then on the other side, you're going to have the Alawai, which is a canal that you should never jump in. Do not jump in the Alawai. But you're going to have the Alawai Canal, and that's pretty much like the whole strip right there. And so the buildings and the units, the condos that are closer to the Alawai typically are not as expensive, not as expensive as the ones that are closer to the beach. Of course, I'm sure some of you are going to ask about short-term rentals. So when it comes to short-term rentals or the Airbnb, VRBO stuff, right? When it comes to those, not every condo in Waikiki is zoned for short-term rentals or is approved for short-term rentals. Matter of fact, we just had Bill 41 pass into legislation. And so starting around the October timeframe, they're going to start enforcing it where nothing can be rented out unless it is already zoned or approved with an NCU or non-conforming use permit. If it's not already approved, then it cannot be listed and then it cannot be rented out for less than 90 days. So that's something you got to consider if that was on your mind when it comes to living in Waikiki for a part of the time or your vacation home or whatever, and you think you're going to rent it out, whatever the case is, right? I don't know, but we can definitely get on a call and talk about it. But that's something you got to be aware of too. All right. And now when it comes to these condos too, one other thing to mention is these buildings are pretty old. All right. These buildings are 60s, 70s, 80s. These buildings are pretty old. There's some new ones, right? But most of the newer buildings are in the Kaka'ako area, which is not downtown Waikiki, all right? So that's where a lot of the newer buildings are. But when it comes to Waikiki, a lot of these structures are very old, which can mean that you have older electrical, right? Older foundation, older things going on. And that's not to deter you from buying one. I'm just letting you know that you should never waive the home inspection because you never know what's going on in the walls. You never know if the unit above you is leaking, right? Especially in these tall buildings, right? You never know if, the electrical is bad, right? Depending on who did it and when they did it and whatnot. So last but not least is the HOA and maintenance fees. This is something that we encompass all in one. But typically in Waikiki, you can expect to see HOA and maintenance fees altogether of around 700 plus, right? If you find some lower, amazing, right? Great. Now, typically though, the higher that they go, right, it should encompass more of your utilities and bills. So sometimes you may see an $1,100 a month HOA fee, and that may include electric, water, internet, cable. It says other common expenses, which is usually if they have like a pool or a spa, you're helping maintain those types of things. So be on the lookout for the HOA fees because they can be, they can put a huge damper in your budget, right? When it comes to, this condo is only $200,000, but it has a $900 a month HOA fee. It's like, oh my goodness, that's insane, right? And then special assessments, right? Because they're trying to update the buildings, these older buildings. So there may be a special assessment to update the elevator that was originally from 1968, right? So these types of things. Again, I don't say all that to scare you. This is all for awareness, right? In the condo living lifestyle down there in Waikiki. And one of the reasons why it may not be for you. So yeah, the condo living down there is something that is just a beast and you have to really do your homework on. I just gave you 5 reasons why Waikiki can be really a headache to live in. And again, some of those things though may not bother you, right? Maybe you're already coming from a big city and those things are like, Ryan, that's not going to say that, but right, those things may not bother you and you're like, I want to live in Waikiki. I want the hustle and bustle. I want the noise. I plan on working in Waikiki. I don't even need the car or the parking spot, and that is the spot for me. Whichever the case, whether you hate it or love it, right? Any one of you can reach out. You can shoot us a text, give us a call, send us an email. Like we said in the beginning, however you're comfortable, you can reach out. We got your back when it comes to living in Hawaii. If you made it this far and you haven't already hit the like button, please do so. It's going to help anybody else be able to find these helpful videos. hit the subscribe button and that notification bell. That way you get notified anytime that we put a new video out on this channel. Like I mentioned, we got the Waikiki vlog tour and tons of other content that's going to start popping up for you right now.